Good afternoon, everyone. Today, we're going to do some questioning of Mr. Hywel Griffiths, who is the Managing Director of APD Resolutions Limited, as part of our phase 2 for our showcase video. If you trust someone, you can usually ask them questions without feeling embarrassed, especially if they offer to help you. In this case, it's regarding setting up your own business. Clearly, it's better to ask someone who actually owns a business, particularly if they have worked on both sides of the fence in a conventional job for loads of years at all levels of corporate business before starting a new business of their own from scratch. As I said before, Mr. Hywel Griffiths, Managing Director of APD Resolutions Limited, has kindly offered to accept the challenge for this video of answering all your questions about starting up in business. And here we go. I'm going to give you, Hywel, a nervous character here, someone who doesn't really even know whether they're allowed to ask questions about the subject, you know, whether they're sound a bit stupid or whatever. And I know from knowing you for many years that you don't believe any question is a stupid question. So
no, indeed.
Here are the first couple of questions then from some such person, and I'd just like you, if that's all right with you, to just answer the question as briefly as you can, so that we can get a flavor of, should we say, confidence for this character.
Okay.
So here we go then. How can I meet someone that I can trust and I'll ask them loads of questions? And
okay, well,
do I have a do I have to join a business network to find someone and to wear a suit all day doing it?
Right. So I'll take those backwards. First of all, wearing a suit all day, you do not have to wear a suit all day. These days, you can be in business without wearing a suit as long as you are comfortable in the clothing that you wear and that you feel that it is the image that you want to portray. Do you have to join a business network? I would suggest that in this day and age, being online, there are plenty of business networks that work online. And if you would join a business network online, that will help you to build a relationship where you can begin to see the people that you are communicating with, the ones that are most likely to be someone that you can trust and ask them lots of questions. The best approach that I have seen is that there is a daily conversation piece, and that daily conversation piece within the network then allows you to see what people are really like, and those that you gravitate towards, you will build that trust with them and you will be able to ask them loads of questions.
So it's like breaking the ice. Once you've broken the ice and you can talk to people, you'll be surprised at how helpful they can be and how much aware they are of your concerns, you know. So
well, the other thing is that most people have been in the same position at some stage or other.
Precisely.
And we all understand that.
Thinking about this character then, who may well be, you know, sort of building up a bit more confidence, having spoken to someone, he or she may well be thinking about changing direction. That's the reason why they are here asking questions. So what's the main advantage of owning a business compared with a job? They really think they know what this is, but they want to have confirmation. Can I start a business and carry on doing my own job? You know, can I have both? And I actually love my work, but my wages are rubbish, you know. Is it difficult to start a business after working for somebody else? I'd really like to know that, because I've never done that. What if I give up my job, start a business, and then it fails? Can you sort of build up the confidence of this character a bit more while he or she is thinking of changing?
Yeah, these are really interesting questions. The advantage of owning a business compared to the job is mainly in the ego of the person. If the business is successful, then obviously you're going to be financially in a better position. However, you have got to know what you have to do in order to set up a business. This is what our BIBA, the Build Your Business Academy program that we have at APD actually do. We take you through the foundations of setting up a business to make sure that you are successful, because 75% of businesses fail within the first 18 months. So if your business is successful, then really there is no comparison between owning your own business and having a job, because you are your own boss, and therefore you can be flexible with the timings and how you carry out your business.
So how do you consider that, what is success to you then? What's success?
Success to me is that I do not have an alarm that goes off every morning telling me that I have got to be in a certain place at a certain time. I dictate my own schedule, and that as a businessman is the most successful you can be. If you are being dictated to, then your business is not successful, or it's like being in a job. It's like being in a job. So can I start a business and carry on doing my job? Absolutely. And in this day and age with the internet, this is a golden opportunity for a huge amount of people. So they have already got a job, but they want to have some subliminal finance coming in. And there are so many opportunities if you go onto the internet of actually doing that. If you can find something that you're really passionate about, there are so many opportunities of doing both of those. And that answer, to be honest with you, I think I remember you saying something about you love your work, but the wages are too low. It's the same sort of thing. If you actually do love your work and you don't want to leave that job, then there again are so many opportunities if you go onto the internet and have a look around at what is available for you to do in any spare time that you've got. So that those two really are very, very similar. How difficult is it to start a business after you've been working for somebody else? Again, this depends entirely on the type of people you've been working for. They say that people don't leave jobs, they leave the people that they work for. And if you've ever been in that position and you start your own business, I'd like to think that you will feel that you will treat your staff in the way that you would have liked to have been treated before leaving that job that you were doing before. The biggest part of starting your own business when you've been working for another company or working for somebody else is that most of the time you will have been given a schedule, you'll have been given your job description, you'll have been given KPIs, all of that will be given to you, whereas when you start your own business, you really do need to understand how to put all of that together so that there is some accountability for your business. Without that accountability, then there's every possibility that your business will fail. And you asked me, what if I give up a job, start a business and it fails? Well, one of the reasons that a lot of businesses fail is simply because when you're working for somebody else, you're given all of the criteria for carrying out your work, whereas when you start your business, you're the person who is making all the rules and doing all the process.
You're making it sound really interesting now, I mean, if I were this person asking that question and feeling, a little bit nervous about making the move and even asking the questions, I'm now feeling, it's pretty good. You're addressing the biggest questions that I've really had hanging over me for ages. But now I've made the break and I'm thinking now, wow, I can imagine having a business. And you mentioned ego. I'd never thought of it as that before, but I really recognize that if someone's done something, set up a business of their own, and they're not being told how to do things, they are working it out for themselves. When they're successful, wow, how can you stop your ego kicking in? How can you stop feeling so chuffed, and wanting to go and show everybody? So I'm getting quite excited. Now, what about the financial bits? Because let's face it, that's really one of the main reasons that people say you should join a business. And that's what a business is for earning for you. It's it's a bit of a slave for you, but you've got to look after it. You
Mhm.
know? Maybe a donkey,
Yeah.
but you've got to care for that donkey. Is there a limit on how much you can take out of the business then? And what are things called dividends? I've never understood them. Can I actually get paid using them? And what are the pros and cons of being registered for VAT?
Okay, so is there a limit on how much you can take out the business? Well, obviously there is a limit to how much you've got in the business. That's the obvious to that question.
Sorry about the stupid question.
No, there's no such thing as a stupid question. But how I would address that question if somebody asked me is that, do they understand what a break-even is? Because if they can get an understanding of what a break-even is, then they can get an understanding of how much they can take out of the business. So I call it my MIMO strategy: money in, money out. You must have money coming in order for your money to go out. And once you have done a break-even analysis, and the break-even analysis in really short terms is understand how much money you are spending so that you have got at the first of the month enough money to be able to carry out that business for the next month, even if you do not make any sales, if you're on holiday, or if you're sick. If people can understand that their break even is enough money to carry on the business when there are problems like we've had this year, then you will then know how much money you can take out of the business. So that's money in, money out. Now, what I try and say to the clients that I work with is to have what I call the envelopes. Coming from a poor background, my parents used to have envelopes with money in the envelopes every time there was a salary brought home, and you can do the same with a business. So, for example, for your operating expenses, if you make £100, £65 of that should be the maximum you ever use for your operating expenses. You then have got £35 left where you can put away money for the tax that you're going to be paying. You can put away £10, for example, for every 100 for your salary, and then you've got the money that is left as a profit to build up the business. So the limit is literally for you to understand how much money is coming into the business, and once you've done all of your expenses, that's the money that you can take out of the business. Dividends. Now, dividends are usually paid annually. They're an annual payment that is given to the shareholders out of the profits that you have made for the business. So when I was saying to you just now that I'd have an envelope where you put in £10 out of every £100, then at the end of the year, your accountant will be able to work out for you what your dividends are from the money that you have put away as profit for the business. I think you also asked about the pros and cons of being registered with VAT.
Yeah.
Well, the biggest negative of being registered with VAT is that if you happen to have clients that are not registered with VAT, you have got to put VAT on top of the bill or the invoice that you're giving them, and sometimes that is not viewed kindly because they don't pay VAT themselves, and that's the biggest difficulty with the VAT. And then the pros of having VAT is obviously VAT is another operating expense within the business, which helps your business in the tax wise. So that's the financial side of things that we cover in the Beaver course to try and get people to understand, and then they must get that part, that financial foundation part right, in order for the business to be successful.
I can just add a little bit to that, a little bit of flavour. In my first business, I was VAT registered in a limited company, and I used to. I mean, you've got to realise that VAT is a tax, and that you are collecting it through your business as a favour to the government. And when you do that, you've got to remember that that money is coming into you, and you are the guardian of it, and you just have to give it straight back to the government eventually.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how tempting it is?
Oh, it's absolutely. And this is why I keep on telling my clients to have envelopes. I call it envelopes, but you can do it any way that you want, but you should be putting that money aside. You should not be even looking at that. So when it comes to my break-even analysis, the VAT is not included because it's over and above.
That's right.
It's over and above. You should not be including VAT.
And you should keep it separate. Is that right? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Well, now we've got a character who's a little bit more confident now. We've even been talking to him about the actual money, and he's getting quite excited when he can smell the money, right? But he doesn't fancy the other part of the business at the moment because it isn't really what he's been brought up to do, and he hasn't got to like it like he likes his job. So he'd like somebody else to help him do it. So out comes the word delegation. And right from the off, before I set up my business, he wants to find somebody who can write a business plan for him. I don't know what you think about that, but in addition to that, and bringing up what we were talking about with VAT, can I charge VAT on everything I sell? And is there any way I can get a guaranteed income from my business? In other words, can I really use it as a slave? And can I guarantee that it will work for me? Could I simply employ someone to run the business and then do my own job?
Okay, they're very, very, very interesting questions, actually.
Yeah.
They're very interesting questions. With the business plan, I think the first thing that everybody needs to understand is that a business plan is a working document. There are so many people that I have spoken to over the last 5 years who, when I've asked the question, do you have a business plan, have come back and said, well, yeah, I had a business plan written for me by the bank or by somebody so that I could, get some funding or whatever. That's not a business plan at all. That's a finance plan. A business plan is something that has to be put together. And in the business plan, we write business plans at APD, and our business plans are 25 to 30 pages long. Now, when I say that, that's because it includes everything to do with running the business on a daily basis. Now, the most important part of that will be the business goals and the finance goals section, which can then be taken out, and it's just 2 or 3 pages that you have to read. The activities that are aligned with the business goals and the finance goals are what is really important for you to continue to run the business. And then we update that every quarter. So we have business goals, which are 12 monthly. You have short term, which are 3 months, medium term, which are 6 months, and 12, and then the long term goals, which are 12 months. And these are just rolled over every quarter. And then we work as an accountability partner with our clients to make sure that they are achieving the goals that have been set out for them. So that's the first thing. But with regard to a business plan, as far as I'm concerned, is essential. It is a working document. There are some areas of it that are updated far more often than others. But the most important parts are the business goals and the financial goals. We also include in the business plan the break-even analysis, which I was speaking about earlier on. You asked about whether or not you can charge VAT on everything you sell. No, not everything incurs a VAT expense. So you need to find out. You can go on the government website, HMRC, find out what products and services actually incur a VAT cost, and then you charge VAT on those. Is there a guaranteed way that I can get an income from my business? There is no guarantee in business whatsoever. And I go back to, again, talking about the BIBA program that we have. One of the things that is essential for anybody who goes into business is to have a product or service that is required out in the wide world. You can have the best idea in the whole world, but if it might be the best idea for you, but if nobody else thinks it's a good idea, then it's not going to sell. And I break a business up into 3 sections. Section 1 is the front end of the section, where you've got to do all the dirty work that some people say. You know, you've got to do all your business plans, all your processes and procedures and your KPIs, and do all of that admin work that is required in order for you to run a business. Then the middle part of your business is the part which is to do with the products and services, and usually that part is you're there because you're passionate about the product or service that you've got, or you feel that you have got something that is really going to sell well. So that medium part, usually people are really interested in, and a lot of business owners spend most of their time there because that is where they feel that they're going to be engaging with the public and trying to get money in. And then the third part is the reward, and that is obviously the money that is coming into the business as a result of 1 and 2. If you don't concentrate on 1, you might have the best product in the world in 2, but if all of your processes and procedures and your sales and your marketing is not done properly, then you're going to fall down on 3. You may well sell quite a bit, but you could do a lot better if everything in 1 is put together properly. So no, there is no guaranteed way, but if you go through the BEBA program, it gives you that foundation, and then you can look yourself in the mirror at the end of having done the program and say, is going into business something that I can actually do? Is this for me? And if it is, and if you commit to it, then you should be able to get successful business.
You can see why people fail, though, can't you? If they don't attend any business guidance or business education, how can you?
Yeah, it's more of a I'd like to have, but they don't feel that they need to have, and it's a shame.
Yes, well, in that case, then there should be a business course designed deliberately to persuade you to do it.
Yeah, well, that is, the objective of the BEBA course is because I don't want people to go into business without understanding really what they need to go through in order to make the business a success.
And what about that final question then, Hywel?
Could they employ somebody?
Yeah.
I definitely feel that if you are not comfortable with the first part of my 3-part business, then having somebody to take that part of the business from you and work side by side with, you're the managing director, but you've got this person, this consultant working alongside you, then that is a great approach to succeeding in business, because it also means you've got somebody that you trust to ask questions of and to help make decisions.
Trouble is, you've got to pay him.
Could you? Yeah. So could you have that person really working as the MD while you do another job? That is down to how much you trust that other person, because at the end of the day, that person in running your business will also be involved in the financial side of the business, and you have to have somebody who runs a financial side of your business as a very, very trustworthy individual.
Yeah. Right. Well, talking of trustworthiness and escaping while somebody else is doing it, the subject of freedom then, how does freedom sort of work with having your own business? I've heard that you work longer hours in running your own business compared with doing a job. I mean, when I go to work, I know what time I'm going, I know what time I'm coming back. Where's the freedom in business then? And is this called work-life balance if you're working every hour that God sent? And you can understand why people want to escape and go and play golf or something like that.
Yeah.
If they're doing that. So where's the freedom? Is it the golf, or is it or is it the success? I mean, I'm a bit confused.
Okay, that's lovely. These are great questions. I love these questions. So what does freedom, if you want to talk to me as myself or talk to the people that I that I have as clients and what they would like to have as freedom, it's financial freedom is what most people are craving.
Right.
Financial freedom so that they can make the decisions that they want to in life. And that means that if they want to go into work on a certain day, that they would go into work, or if they have somebody that is working for them and that they trust to be running their business while they are doing what they want, that is what most people see as freedom. You also asked about work-life balance. I don't use the term work-life at all. I use the term life-work, because the first thing that happens when you use the word work first is that you're putting more emphasis on the word work than the word life. And for me, we should be putting more emphasis on the word life before we put emphasis on the word work. So I have a life-work balance. What that means is that I am in a position, and I like to try and put my clients in a position where they spend more time on their life, which means the things that they like to do, than they do in the work environment. And the whole purpose of the Bieber program and the work that I do with my clients is to put them in a position where they have that financial freedom so that they can go ahead with running their life the way that they want to.
So what do you do, Hugh, if you've got an important golf event and it's got a fixed date, and a client calls you and says that they want to do something? What about that conflict?
No, there is no conflict at all. For me personally, there is no conflict. I have a schedule which at this moment in time is determined by what I want to be in that on that schedule. I know the dates that I'm due to play in the golf tournaments. I've already got the dates for most of this year, and those dates are not available for client work. And that is the way that I've run my business ever since I've started.
So you really do put the life before the work.
Oh, I do, yes. But you know, I'm in a position to do that. What I want to try and emphasize here is that what I like to do is to work with clients to try and put them into that position as well. And of course, you know, the clients that I work with are a lot younger than I am, and it's a lot more difficult for them to be able to be in that position. But the whole point is that I try to portray the type of life-work balance that they ought to be aiming for further down the line.
Right. Well, thank you. That's very clear. And this is becoming quite interesting and exciting. If I were asking these questions of myself, I would be thinking, you know, business might be for me after all. What about your family? Do you get your family involved?
Well, yeah, my you know, as far as I'm concerned, when you put life first, life includes the family, and so you know, we've already talked about me playing golf, but you know, I don't live on the golf course, but you know, one of the major aspects of life for me now, and you asked me what life is like, you know, not having an alarm clock on, but for me, my life revolves around what amount of time I can actually genuinely spend with my family. That's not just the family here, but you know, the time that I can spend either visiting or, you know, on Zoom calls at the moment. with the people that are important to me in my life, and that is really what you should be aiming for as an individual. You know, we have a certain amount of time that we are here, and it's how you spend that time is incredibly important. One of the other programs that we have is a time management program, and in that time management program I go through these elements. I talk to the people who are in attendance about, you know, what is urgent and what is important, so that they can determine the effectiveness of using the time that we're given every day of the
Absolutely.
year.
That's something that as you get older, you realize that, you know, you're not always in control of how much time you've got. So you have to make the most of
Absolutely.
it. So on that point then, if I can just sum up what you've just said, that your family really are so important that you have to sort of mold and fashion the business to some extent around your life and your family.
Hmm.
And presumably then on these questions that I've been given to ask you, is your business something you can pass on to your children? You know, it should be, surely.
Yeah, there are different types of businesses that that are in that ilk. So, for example, my business is it's all about experience, skills, knowledge that I have picked up as an individual. Now, the the family don't have the same sort of
Yeah.
experience and so on. So
More of a poison chalice, wouldn't it? If it was.
yeah, so but there are, for example, one of my clients is in an industry where he's already third generation, and he's already talking about moving that onto his children, so there'll be a fourth generation. And you know, I've worked with quite a lot of clients who are family businesses, family owned, and they're passing the business down through the generations. So it depends entirely on the type of business that you've got, whether or not that is going to happen.
Well,
but you can start a new business in an industry where you know that if everything is successful, you can pass it on to your family. So you know, that's another element when we do our review and the analysis, the overview and analysis at the start of the work with them. This is something that
Hywel,
yeah.
I'd love to. Sorry to interrupt. Sorry, I'd love to round this off then with something that I know you're particularly proud of, and that is that you've been able to manage all this, manage your previous job and your current business and the transition and your family and in different parts of the world, etc. You've been able to manage all of that in a very positive way. So lifestyle changes for you presumably have been measuring the success that you've had in coming from your previous work abroad and ending up here with a wonderful place to do business and to be able to serve the business very well yourself. So can you just in a few words describe, so we can round this off now, can you describe how your lifestyle has changed?
Yes, and the biggest change, as I said right at the start, is the fact that I do not depend on an alarm clock. I have my own schedule. You can see behind me that there is a board with targets on. I'm very, very target driven, and this is again something that I try to help my clients with, whether it's personal development or business growth, is to have a target driven approach, because when you've got a target driven approach, you know, you can walk around and have a look at the targets and be really, really happy and comfortable and know that you know, you are able to have the lifestyle that you want. You know, you make the decisions on the back of what you can see written down on your targets, and every time you do that, it's an amazing feeling.
Absolutely. Well, I'd like to thank you very much, Hywel Griffiths, MD of APD Resolutions Limited, for answering some tricky questions, and most importantly, those serving answers, all served up, beautifully done, for people who've been nervous, who've been confident as well, and who really want to know the nitty-gritty, and to some extent, how you cope with those challenges, because they know now that they have to do everything themselves. And, you know, that's where you get both the challenge from and you get the success from, you know, knowing that you've actually overcome those challenges. Thank you very much, Hywel.
Thank you, sir.
And we look forward to hearing how you get on that next session, for which we've got some extra questions on functionality.
Fantastic.
And,
looking forward to it.
it'll be interesting to know how we get on. And I would strongly recommend anyone who is asking these sort of questions and who's benefiting from them to join up with you and to get registered.
Lovely. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate that. And